Following Colorado's 28-10 loss to Nebraska, head coach Deion Sanders found himself searching for positives amidst a disappointing performance. Despite the tough defeat, Sanders pointed to his team's second-half effort in which they outscored Nebraska 10-0 as a silver lining. "I'm just excited," Sanders said in his post-game remarks. "You gotta understand, when you're in a situation like this, you have to find something positive to hold on to encourage your team. And I'm truly excited about the second half of football that we played." While that was one way to view the game, the reality was that Colorado was overwhelmed in the first half. Nebraska built a commanding 28-0 lead by halftime, exposing many of the same problems that plagued the Buffaloes last season. Despite a significant roster overhaul for the second straight year, several recurring issues persisted. Sacks allowed. Last year, Colorado gave up the second most sacks in the nation with 56. Against Nebraska, they surrendered 6 more. Rushing struggles. In 2023, the Buffaloes ranked last in the country in rushing yards per game, averaging 68.9. In this game, they managed only 16 rushing yards on 22 carries. Penalties. The Buffaloes had the third most penalties in the nation last season, and they continued that trend on Saturday, committing 9 penalties for 104 yards. When asked whether these familiar problems concerned him, Sanders acknowledged the struggles but also emphasized the progress his team made in the second half. "Yeah, those issues are concerning," Sanders said, "but I wish I could have struggled with no one really scoring on us in the second half last year. Those are good situations to be in. Now we just need to put it all together for a full game. There's always progress, my man." However, the problems went deeper. Colorado's offense, which was expected to be explosive this season, sputtered against Nebraska's defense. After showing promise in their opening game, a 31-26 victory over North Dakota State, the Buffaloes were stifled by the Cornhuskers. Despite coming into the game prepared, Sanders and his team couldn't figure out why they struggled to get their offense going. "I have no idea," Sanders admitted when asked why his offense couldn't find its rhythm. "If we knew the answer, we would have responded quicker. We just never got it going until it was too late." Nebraska dominated the first half, capitalizing on Colorado's offensive miscues. Cornhuskers quarterback Dylan Raiola led the offense efficiently, completing 23 of 30 passes for 185 yards and a touchdown. Running back Dante Dowdell added 2 rushing touchdowns as Nebraska controlled the pace of the game, particularly in the third quarter where they chewed up over 9 minutes of game time. Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son, finished the game with 23 completions on 38 attempts for 244 yards and 1 touchdown. However, he faced immense pressure throughout the game, getting sacked twice in his first 4 plays and throwing a costly interception that Nebraska returned for a touchdown in the first quarter. Colorado also struggled on third down, converting just 4 of 14 attempts. When asked about the team's recurring blocking issues, Shedeur was cautious with his words, stating, "I'm not sure. I ain't watched the film yet." Shedeur admitted that while the team had prepared thoroughly, the intensity of the game and the sold-out crowd of 86,906 at Memorial Stadium may have played a role in the struggles. "Maybe everybody on the team, maybe we just wasn't ready," he added. Last year, the Sanders family had personal tensions with Nebraska, stemming from comments made by Cornhuskers coach Matt Rhule. However, after this game, Deion Sanders was gracious in defeat, calling Rhule a great guy and even offering a comment that might have been hard for Colorado fans to hear. "I'm happy if we're gonna get our butts kicked, it might as well be him, a God-fearing man," Sanders said. The loss dropped Colorado to 1-1 on the season, while Nebraska improved to 2-0, marking their first 2-0 start since 2016. Rhule, for his part, was complimentary of Colorado after the game, despite the rivalry between the programs. "That's a really good football team," Rhule said of Sanders' squad. "They'll make a ton of noise in the Big 12. Guarding number 5, Jimmy Horn Jr., number 12, Travis Hunter, and number 2, Shedeur Sanders. Those are as good of players as you'll face. And on defense, they're as active and violent as anyone will see." Despite Hunter's 10 receptions for 110 yards and his 3 tackles on defense, he appeared visibly frustrated during the game. Jimmy Horn Jr., who had a breakout performance in the season opener, was limited to just 3 catches for 26 yards. Looking ahead, the key question for Colorado is how they will respond to this loss. Last year, the Buffaloes started the season 3-0, including a win over Nebraska, before losing 8 of their final 9 games to finish 4-8. Deion Sanders emphasized the importance of handling pressure and responding to adversity as they prepare for their next game against in-state rival Colorado State. "We gotta be able to handle pressure," Sanders said. "Not just pressure from the opposing defense, but pressure of the game, pressure of the moment." One area that will require immediate attention is the offensive line, which was heavily reconstructed in the offseason with the addition of transfers and top recruit Jordan Seaton. Sanders carefully chose his words when describing the unit's performance against Nebraska. "Protections were a problem," Sanders said. "I'm trying to be polite because I could say the same thing you're thinking, but if I say it, then you'll say I'm throwing my guys under the bus. I'm not doing that. Protections were a problem and we need to find a way to fix it." As Colorado gears up for their next test, the focus will be on whether they can put together a complete performance and avoid the pitfalls that marred their 2023 campaign.